Hello friend, welcome to Tembestis, where we sift through the noise so you don't have to. I'm Brian Hart.
I'm Karen McFarland-Holman.
And today I am going to talk about eating hippo meat.
I'm going to be talking about an uncommon kitchen material that has amazing properties. Let's get to it.
All right, my cool sheet is going to be a book, and this book is called American Hippopotamus. It is by John Muallim, I believe. Sorry, John. In the early 1900s, the U.S. was in this extreme meat scarcity because of population growth and growing demand for exporting meat to other countries. People referred to it as the meat question. So the question being, how are we going to raise enough meat for all the people here? And they were freaking out. There was no like, oh, we can't just eat vegetables or go vegan. There was no vegan. People ate meat. Material and food resources were quickly running out as we settled to the west, and people were starting to panic. Someone had to come up with a bold solution, and someone did. The solution was the hippopotamus. The hippo could live in swampland and eat aquatic vegetation that was overrunning certain areas of the United States and the Gulf and in the South area, and in return produced tons of meat for the people. So as you can imagine, these elephants are gigantic, and so we could eat them. So Frederick Burnham and Fitz Duganese, I believe, led this charge through public and all the way into Congress. The crazy thing is that these people, well, they were kind of known as, they spent time in Africa, and they were very talented outdoorsmen and guides and scouts, but they also hated each other. They tried to assassinate each other multiple times in their past, but they met at this place, like coincidentally, and they kind of formed this respect and bond through trying to make people eat hippo meat, which is just wild. So it kind of ended because in World War II, we started rationing meat, and people wanted to consume less meat, but also they were just a little bit freaked out about eating hippo. It just didn't fly in the United States. So the meat question was not answered by Hippo. Definitely worth checking out this book, American Hippopotamus.
I don't even know what to say.
It's like this, like, truth is stranger than fiction.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
Well, and it reminds me, there's another question, a bigger question that a lot of people bring up, and that is, why do we eat this animal and not this animal? And it's brought up again here.
Yeah, because it seems ridiculous to us in the United States now. Now, if it would have been decided back then, we'd be eating hippo meat all the time. Hippo burgers, hippo ribs, hippo whatever. And we wouldn't even think it's weird because we just would have adopted it by now, and growing up a few generations later,
so does anyone eat hippo?
That's like the wild thing, because, the United States is particularly kind of weird about food. We like what we like, and anybody that eats anything different than what we say is okay, like you were talking about, then they're weird, and we're not. But I don't think, as far as I know, that no one's major diet comes from the hippopotamus, even in Africa where they're native species there. But it is interesting that, that we're so freaked out about, a cow's fine, but oh my gosh, if you eat, a different kind of animals, certainly if you get to like pet animals, dog, where that might be ate in other countries, and we're just like, those people are like savage, or we, at best, or we joke about it at best, and it's just, it's a really strange thing about food diet and things like that, because everything about hippos made sense on paper. The way that the amount of meat that you got per whatever hoof or whatever was like exponentially better than cow.
Oh my gosh.
And so everything about it made sense. We just couldn't do it. We couldn't get over it.
Yeah.
We couldn't. Again, and it's kind of like that. Not the planned obsolescence, but the other one. It's the fear of what like people would think, like that, like.
Yeah.
And again, it kind of ties into the food shortage too. On the first thing that I talked about this week.
Yes.
It's just so wild that we have all of these solutions and things.
And there's the whole issue of just bringing in a species that isn't native.
Yeah.
A non-native species.
Although that happens all the time. And a lot of the things that we have on the regular are from other countries that were never native to the United States, certainly. So but we think that, that would be weird, but we've done it before. Now, if someone came through the store right now and gave me a hippo burger, I would probably hesitate to eat it. I am kind of a weirdo that I'll try almost anything. So I probably wouldn't wait too long, but I think most people would stay far away.
They'd be like, you said, what?
Yeah, exactly. I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
And another side note, Burnham was the inspiration behind the Boy Scouts. So it was developed from him and inspired Indiana Jones, his lifestyle. So
oh my gosh.
The book is actually more about the rivalry between these two wild people and their history, and it was even optioned for a movie, but it's never come out yet. So that's fascinating, but I want to focus on this hippo deal because that part blew me away the first time I heard about it.
So bizarre.
Yeah.
So bizarre. Thanks for sharing that
You're very
story.
welcome.
I've not heard that story before.
Yeah, it's so wild. I heard it the first time on This American Life. So I will have a link to that and the book on our show notes at 10bestest.com/food.
My cool sheet has to do with two pretty awesome things, kitchen and science, and I will be talking about soapstone. Soapstone is composed primarily of talc and shares many of the physical properties with that mineral. Talc, if you don't know, is a hydrous, which means there's water in there, magnesium silicate mineral. So it's got a chemical composition that includes magnesium, silicon, oxygen, and hydrogen. And sometimes aluminum is incorporated into the structure naturally. The physical properties of soapstone make it valuable for many different uses. And these useful physical properties include that it is soft. It is very easy to carve. You could just carve it with your own hands. It is non-porous, so it's not going to absorb a lot of things. And it has low electrical conductivity. It is heat resistant, and it has high specific heat capacity. So that means it can absorb a lot of heat and then hold it once it's there. It is also resistant to changing its composition if there's a really acidic environment or a strong basic environment. Since soapstone is a naturally occurring rock, its mineral composition can vary, and its composition depends on the parent rock material and the temperature and pressure conditions of around that environment. And as a result, the physical properties of the soapstone can vary a little bit between locations, but overall it has all those properties that I just talked about. And given that it's soft and easy to carve and it's heat resistant, you can imagine how it was used over history. People have quarried soapstone for thousands of years. Native Americans in eastern North America used the soft rock to make bowls and cooking slabs and smoking pipes and ornaments starting 5,000 years ago. Native Americans on the west coast of the United States, of present-day Southern California, they felt it was so important to get the soapstone that they would travel in canoes from mainland all the way over 60 miles offshore just to get it. And it is still used today. It is beautiful. It is so nice to the touch. Soapstone.
Okay, how have I never heard of soapstone?
Well, it's
now,
not.
I don't have any of that in my house that I don't even know, right? Is it a very specific thing?
So it's possible that you don't, and the reason would be that it is so soft that you'll never have surfaces. Like we get granite because you can cut onto a similar properties, and you can cut and then not slice it up because everyone wants it to stay nice.
Yeah.
So the thing about soapstone that's so lovely is that you can actually carve it so you can make things yourself. So I would say it's more for people who want to make their own things. Okay. And if they don't care if they get a little bit cut or dented. Yeah, dinged up, exactly.
Okay.
So
wow, it sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
I was I know my way around the kitchen pretty well, but I had no idea what any of that was. And I kept thinking the aha moment was going to come and go, oh yeah, and that's what you know, everybody's, you know, cast iron skillet is made out of, or something, you know, obviously not that because it's in the name. But I was like waiting for that, like, oh yeah, and I have 5 of those and I never knew it. But like, no, so it is something a little more specific.
Yes, and I would say so for
where
the
could
modern
you get some
kitchen,
if you wanted to?
You can just order it on Amazon.
Oh,
like
wow.
you can
Well,
just,
of course.
Yeah, right. I mean, you can just buy it. Yeah, and I've had friends who've just like made stuff that are beautiful, and I've been like, I want to just try doing it.
Oh wow!
Because it's amazing how smooth it's so satisfying. It's I just love it.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Now, of course, because of a former cool sheet, the frequency illusion, I'm gonna see and hear about this all the time and go like, oh yeah. So you know what I always wonder about the frequency illusion though is like when people, you know, if this is always happening all the time, like what do I look like when people say blah 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 soapstone and I'm just like glossy eyed like like I know what that means. I mean that's the weirdest part. Right. Because I'm sure there's someone who was like, oh yeah, I made this out of soapstone. I was like, cool. And I'm genuinely like, they made that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And
that's probably what you were focused on.
Yeah, what's the heck is soapstone?
Yes.
You made that word up.
Right.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So, but if you want to learn more about it, there'll be a link.
Yes. Check out the show notes, 10bestest.com/food, and then you can learn way more about soapstone and maybe even carve out your own stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us, friend. I'm Brian Hart.
I'm Karen McFarland-Holman.
Let us know in the comments below, what's the weirdest thing that you have ever eaten?
And also let us know, have you ever heard of soapstone?
If you're enjoying the show, please like this video and share it with a friend.
And stay tuned tomorrow for another fabulous show.
And don't forget to stay curious.